My name is Shirley Self, and I'm here to talk astrology. And today I wanted to introduce you to a moon phase 5. This is Prince Philip, who is now deceased, was the consort of Queen Elizabeth, and the father of Prince William, or grandfather of Prince William, father of Prince Charles, Prince Andrew, and Princess Anne. Let me introduce you to the chart. He's at Capricorn rising. Got the North Node up here in the 9th house of positivity and communication. And he's got a Saturn-Jupiter conjunction over here in the 8th house of, and it's intercepted in Virgo. That's kind of nasty. Not only is the Jupiter in its detriment or fall, one or the other, but it's conjunct Saturn, and that means this guy's a hard ass, or was. We've got a moon, which is close to Neptune here, but not conjunct. We've got here on this descendant, his house of partnership, he's got a Pluto-Mercury conjunction. Very powerful. And it shows the power that he held with his wife, and it shows the powerful wife that he had. We've got a Mars-Sun conjunction here in the house, or on the cusp of the house of service. He was a Gemini. And we got the Venus over here in the 3rd house, right on the IC, in Taurus, and South Node at 26 Aries. Chiron at 13 Aries here in the 3rd house. And over here in the 2nd house of money, it shows the poverty that, I mean, he was a prince, but they were impoverished. The Greek royalty had lost their position. And so he had kind of a rough upbringing, not exactly the lap of luxury. And it shows here with this Uranus in Pisces intercepted in the 2nd house. Now, it's a bull, so he's very self-contained. It's a bull. Now, when he married Elizabeth, it's not that her family approved of him. I mean, he was impoverished. You got to think about those things if you're royal. But she loved him, and he loved her, and I think they were an excellent match together. When they married, though, they kind of divvied up their world. Because she was queen, she was going to run the world, and because he needed a job, seriously needed a job, he was going to run the family. So here we have a cautionary tale, because this is a moon phase 5, one of the phases in the rectangle of power, the power point in the 1st quarter. So, and the problem that 5 and 11 and 19 and 25 have is that their energy they're so powerful that they really need to focus their energies out into the world and not try to deal with the world one-to-one, because they just run over people like a bulldozer. So, and we have that issue. Notice that the Neptune, which is highlighted here as the foot of a finger of God, this Neptune is very powerful because it rules this Uranus, which is virtually leading this cluster, well, this half hemisphere of planets. So this Neptune is highlighted because his obligations to his wife were to make sure that the family prospered and survived. And notice that Neptune is at the point of the finger of God, which means that it's got a Plutonian necessity, a need, an issue there. And it means that it can be too powerful. Watch out, it's dangerous. And that plutonian, it means it needs softened. Be careful, it's dangerous. And so it proved. Let's look at the royal family itself here. Now, here we have the ones that are mostly involved in the dysfunction of the family, and they're very interesting people. Let me give you a run through of them here. Here's Philip down here at the power of Moon Phase 5. Across from him is his son Harry. His grandson William is here. What do they call him? Anyway, he's going to be the king at Moon Phase 3, and we've got the Queen Elizabeth down here at Moon Phase 8. Charles over here at 13. Diana up here at 18. Andrew, Charles's brother, up here at 21. And let me just give a little run through. Let me introduce the ones that aren't directly involved. We have Andrew at Moon Phase 21. And it's demonstrative of Andrew very much in that a Moon Phase 21 are such good people. I mean, they are the culmination of the air quarter, and they are the triumph of the intellect. The problem with a Moon Phase 21 is that I don't know whether it's guilt that they're so nice or what, but they tend to have a proclivity for daring sexual conduct. And so it proved with Andrew, and it brought him down. Anyway, who else? We have Bill Clinton, whose sexual conduct almost brought him down. I think of Einstein, who was up there, this brilliant, brilliant man, whose sexual misconduct he bought his way out of. Anyway, I've not got much respect for Einstein, Albert Einstein, and the way he treated his partner, Melva Merrick, who was also a Moon Phase 21. So they were both considering back in the day when it was it was terribly frowned on, that sexual misconduct. I mean, they were supposed to be chaste until married. Anyway, so they indulged in each other and produced the theory of relativity and a couple of kids, and he won the Nobel and gave her the money and fled to America. So anyway, enough about Einstein. Let's go to Harry, who is a Moon Phase 19. He is a powerful, powerful person. And what's he obsessed with? Well, let's analyze. He's up here in the Scorpio sign, in the Cancer decadent that moves into the Sagittarius decadent of the next sign. This is really interesting because what Harry is obsessed with is the death of his mother. And the mother, Cancer, and the death. And so he's written a book, Sagittarius, about the whole terrible ordeal, exposing the family, supposedly. So anyway, that's Harry. Elizabeth down here at a Moon Phase 8. Now, a Moon Phase 8 is the top of the heap. They have achieved the work required in first quarter, and they are at the top of the heap. And and it is a feeling of a state of perfection, at first, and it can easily deteriorate because it is in that transition phase in which you're going from I've conquered earth and now I've got to dive into the water, and this is difficult to what the water quarter is about one's own personal creativity and finding the source of that creativity, that divine spark within yourself. And so it's virtually a leap off into deep waters that moon phase 8 has to do, and those waters are emotional. And while she wanted to hold her space and hold the crown traditionally, she was faced with all this emotional intrusion into. She's not a very emotional person, obviously. Look at where she is. And to have to deal with that, I think she did it really well. She endured the change that had to be made, and I think the world was proud of her. Her country was proud of her and loved her. I think she did a good job. So let's look at Charles. Here's where the problem began. Philip, the dad here, who was in charge of Charles and raising him right so that he'd be perfect king once he ever got there, that dad had been educated in England in a very rough environment in which they were thrown into it was hard. What can I say? That anyway, Philip, being a moon phase 5, once he got broken in, thrived there because the energy, the demands they made on these boys was cruel and abusive, and I wouldn't think that Charles would have liked it, and he didn't. Philip dealt with it. Charles endured it, but it was probably one of the tragedies of Charles' life. I think Charles has led a very tragic life. Let's jump to Charles now. Moon phase 13. Now they have followed the initiation of 11 and 12, in which you have been introduced to your own creativity. And it's an initiation, and what happens in an initiation is the past is killed. This initiation at 12 is the initiation of Persephone, in which you killed your pig. And once you've killed your pig, you can become a productive member of society by bringing forth that which is in you. And that is the job of 13 and 14, is to bring forth that new, what's personal and creative in you from your own spiritual source. That's what's been found here in 11. Notice it's Leo, the heart. And it is, an 11 is in Leo in the Sagittarius decadent, and 12 is in Leo in the Aries decadent, new start. Charles here in the phase 13 is in the Virgo decadent. Okay, you've got to clean up your act. You've got to leave behind all those habits and desires that were of the past. They are the past. You have to leave them behind and to virtually search out the world for what is yours, what resonates with you. And so that is what Charles, a moon phase 13, their choices are very critical. And so Charles did not get to choose the school he wanted. And then he didn't get to choose the woman he wanted. And who does a moon phase 13 want? Well, because moon phase 13 is trying very hard to become its own person, so that it is not swayed by other people's, well, and for 13, emotional affect, that they can remain emotionally pure. I am I, and I can work with this. I am not interfered with. Moon phase 13 has to clean the emotions, become independent in the emotions. Moon phase 14 has to become independent in the intellect. And so anyway, it's very important for a moon phase 13 and 14 who they marry, their choices. They've got to marry. People up here are way too emotionally overwhelming. And here's where Diana is, right here in the emotional woman. And what kind of person is good for a 13? Over here at the body of fate in 3, or up here in the mask, a 27, the saint. And Camilla is right there. He chose her first. And his father did not find Camilla suitable. She was probably not a virgin. And so he sent Charles off on some jaunt and conspired to have Camilla, I almost said committed, marry another man, Bowles. And so that when Charles came back into the picture, she was gone. She was gone. He loved her still. She loved him still committed to each other. And but then Philip chose Diana. Now, considering this man is trying to become emotionally self-sufficient, to hook him up with somebody called the emotional man. Now, let's talk about a moon phase 18. The United States is a moon phase 18. Putin is a moon phase 18. Now, what a moon phase 18, what it goes on about is the fact that the ideal has been sought since here. This is where the ideal, the new ideal, that was virtually a seed at moon phase 1. The new ideal is developed, this new ideal person and new ideal work, or what do you want to do in the world? What are you going to be creative at? And the ideal is, here's the finding the ideal life, creating the ideal life against a big, against the stream, virtually. Not easy. 17, the ideal life never stays put, and world keeps changing, and the 17 has to virtually dance, keep up, make changes where they're required. Now here we come to 18. Now here the ideal has to be abandoned. Why? Because 18 is virtually the crowning of the king. This is where the intellect has developed a creative dream, an ideal that they want to work out in the world. These people jump on the bandwagon. They're politicians. They are theorists. They bring new ideas into the world. And in order to put their ideas out into the world, they need to abandon any ideas they have about, well, I mean, if you're going to be a politician, you better give up the white picket fence. That kind of an ideal. And so he married Diana, who had evidently wanted to marry him all along, and so it worked for her. except that it didn't work for her. When she discovered that Charles had not, will never give his heart to her, but has already given it away, she began to virtually, you look at where this 18 is, it's in Scorpio, ooh, deep, deep, deep and powerful emotions. And it's moving into the Cancer, and this was just too much emotional trauma for Charles to put up with. Not easy at all. And so because of this difficulty, engineered by this guy here, the world, their family is in total disarray. You know, you think of giving Philip the job of running the family, and Elizabeth the job of running the country. Philip was running if Aidan didn't have a family. Virtually his family had been destroyed by politics and war, and so he had no idea of what a family ran like. Whereas Elizabeth had a family. She had a very loving family, mostly because her father would not intended to be king. If her father had been intended to be king, her life would have been much more restricted, and the family would have been much more uptight, I guess. So the problem we have now is that these people are all estranged. Philip and Elizabeth are dead, and Charles and William are trying to make a go of it, and Anne is bossing everyone around. Now Anne, it's interesting, look at Moon Phase 2. This is the power of, this is Aries, Leo, Sagittarius here in Moon Phase 2. This is where the physical energy is dumped into the cycle. And so Anne was the only child that Philip really approved of. She's the only one that had the violent nature that he recognized in himself. So we've got Diana's dead, may be in a conspiracy theorist. I wonder what part this powerful man played in that, because I look at this and I see this is this Pluto Mercury. I do believe that Philip was Elizabeth's enforcer. Now I look at the family as just, you know, this genteel and settled and traditional and all of that. But underneath that is crap going on and going down. And Philip, being a traditional man, wanted the traditions to run. And I don't know how Elizabeth felt about that, because she could see the traditions breaking down, I think. I'm not sure that Philip could. So I wonder what part this played in that death. I don't know. I'm a typical American and have a Mercury-Pluto opposition like America does. And so I love conspiracies. And so I look at that and I think, Anyway, it's neither here nor there. So we've got Harry alienated from the family. Andrew dispossessed from his position. Camilla, nobody likes her. She's an intruder. What's she doing here? And only thing is that Charles needed her and didn't get her. He has had a disappointing life, and I think it made him vulnerable to illness. You look at where that 13 is in Virgo there. You know, it's this coming through here. It's called purgatory. And it is a purge of the past. And it is not easy. Phase 13 is necessary and difficult and a delicate dance. So that's what I think is wrong with the royal family. Not that any kind of transition is going to be easy for anybody in these times, but things are changing for them, and I hope they can work it out. Or not. Like I say, change is coming. Who knows what's going to last here. So I hope you're all well. And if you want to buy my book, which is called The Phases of the Soul's Development, here's where you find it. And I like this because, well, it's not Jeff Bezos. And there's where you can get this. This spinner here, oh my goodness, makes finding your moon phase simple. And oh, if only I'd had it years ago, I would not have made the mistakes I made. Sloppy, but I may be old, but I am not perfect. Anyway, I recommend this store to get your book, and there are other good, interesting metaphysical books found in the emergent education. So, hope you're well. Have hang on. I keep some odd optimism for. I've always been, a pessimist. I have my Mercury is opposing Pluto, square Saturn, things like that, and pessimism is abandoned me. I'm having a Pluto conjunct my Sun. Is that it? I'm having a Pluto opposition, and I'm thinking my Pluto purged my Pluto. Yay! But I'm optimistic about what's happening now, because the changes are not going to be easy. Nope. And one of these days I want to do a video on the birth of the age of Aquarius. So I hope you're well. Love you. Don't forget to tell the other people that you love them. It's really important now, because love is the only guide we have right now. Only guide we have. So grab a hold of it and work it for all you've got. Talk to you later. Bye.